Hey there PCA members, welcome back to PCA Headquarters. We're in the garage again. The last video what we did was we installed Cayman spars, LED spars to sort of give that car a more modern look. Well, this week we're going to go backwards. We're going to actually add a classic look to your modern Porsche. You probably don't give much thought to this product on your car. You step on it, it actually has the most real estate in your interior, and of course I'm talking about the floor mats. There are a couple of options that you can consider, the factory mats or aftermarket mats. And today we're going to meet Coco Mats, a longtime Porsche Panorama advertiser that's going to show us what they have in terms of colors, quality, and fitments for your needs. Okay, we're here with Drew Fithian with cocomats.com. Now Drew, this is what came in my Porsche. Yep, and you know, factory mats. Worn out. What I was looking for was something to protect the floor a little bit more. This is my Cayenne family, 3 little kids, making sure the Cheerios and all the fruit punch doesn't go into the carpets. Right. So I was looking to upgrade my mats, and honestly I didn't really think about Coco Mats until I saw the advertisement in Panorama. You know, Coco Mats for me goes back to the 70s and 80s, right, and even in the 60s with the 356s, with the 911s. Even my uncle's Scirocco had Coco Mats, and I remember them, and they're like, that's kind of cool, retro. But more importantly, the more I talked with you about the purpose and how durable they are, and also they've evolved. Most people think Coco Mats from the 70s and 60s, the way they were made, they had some issues on their own. Right. But the newer versions that you're making now kind of take it up to the next level. Absolutely. So what we want to do is show you probably the advantages of the Coco Mats that you have. The personal flair that you could add with the combinations, the different types of material that you can choose from. Again, I didn't really know I had these many options with floor mats. I'm thinking black, blue, rubber mats, whatever. But here, if you can see, Drew came up with a lot of different options. So we're going to talk about it. So here we go, Drew. Tell me about this mat.
Oh yeah, let's bring this over here. Well, mainly, what most people think is that, like you said, when it comes down to I need to replace my factory mats, or I'm not happy with my factory mats that came with my, brand new Porsche 997 or like your Cayenne. What options do I have? You have your rubber mats, excellent for their purpose, but aesthetically just not very pleasing. Black rubber scuffs up when you touch it, whatever else. What we do is we create custom mats for cars. Any year, any make, any model, but definitely have a concentration on Porsche vehicles, being the heritage of Coco Mats in general, going all the way back to the 50s. In fact, original Coco Mats were made to fit in the Porsches that had rubber floors. The original ones didn't have any of our rubber backing that we use on our mats. And the idea was that basically dirt would fall from the top of the mats down to the bottom through the mats onto the rubber floors. They pick up their Coco Mats, sweep out their floors, put their mats back in, they're back in action. Now, a lot of the problems that those original mats had was that they would lose their kind of conformity. Without that rubber backing on there, they'd slip around, they'd slide around, the material would fray and everything else. And basically what we did is we kind of revolutionized and brought that whole process up to kind of a new age, something that's comparable to what you'd expect to see in your Cayenne or your 997 or 991. What we do is we have an all-natural Coco Mat right here. The main advantage being that we do install a really heavy-duty nibbed backing to all of our mats. The heel pad we use is an extra heavy-duty, thick rubber heel pad. You can see right here, it's about 1/4 of an inch thick. And just to install this heel pad, we pressurize the area where the heel pad goes with about 40 tons of pressure for about 10 minutes. Once that heel pad has been brought up, we put the actual heel pad down, sew that around, stick it on there so it sits nice and flush with the rest of the mat.
Well, I noticed with, this is my set here for a 996. This is the mat from the 996. And what I had been experiencing is I would get out of the car, my foot would apply pressure to the mat and always twist and turn the mat. So every time I got into the car, I had to straighten my mat. And I know Porsche has these pieces here that are attached to the floor, but as you can see, it always pops out, and the Velcro, it's so-so. Right. So I always found, that it was always shifting, and of course it could present, a safety issue if it gets stuck underneath or your pedals, so on and so forth. But I can tell you, after fitting these in, these nibs must lock into place because
Absolutely.
I mean I put it in, I get in and out, and it stays exactly in place, which is pretty impressive.
Right, and that's one of the things. A lot of thought goes into what we made here. Everything, like you were saying, the rubber nibs that we use. We don't use a plastic PVC. We don't use anything that's going to have any kind of harmful effects on your car. Being that we designed our mats to work with, pre-A speedsters, cars, $100,000, $200,000 examples, all the way to brand new Ford Fiestas, we didn't want to have any kind of detrimental effect on the carpets with the installation of our mats. A two-piece set of our mats does weigh in anywhere from about 12 to 15 pounds. And it's that heft of the mats and the custom fibbing of them that keeps them in place. Now, for the purists that are out there that have a pre-A speedster or a 356 A or B or C, we can actually manufacture our mats without the rubber backing, just like the originals. Now, again, it's not going to be the best for everyday driving. You're going to experience a lot of those issues that the original ones had, but it's also something that we can do, and currently the only people in the world that still can do that.
And something that you mentioned, the thickness of it and the heft of it, and that's something that I noticed immediately when the shipping box came.
Yeah, right.
Like I can't remember what I ordered, but it's really heavy, and I opened it up to see the floor mats. I'm like, wow. Compared to this factory mat, which is very thin and quite flimsy, we'll weigh it later so we can give you some numbers just to tell you the difference in weight. But again, that heft allows it to stay in place.
Absolutely.
Now, for those of you that have RS carpeting, you're probably not going to put mats in your car anyway, and this is probably not something that you would put in an RS car that's all about ounces and such. But you said that you could also do it without a backing, so if those still want a coco mat in their car, but want a lighter version of it, you can do it. So that's
without the rubber backing. Yeah.
Interesting.
No, absolutely.
The other thing that was that I learned, as again, more than I need to know about floor mats now, wealth of information that I gained from your website, is coco mats is really a term for much like a velour mat. Coco mat, there are different manufacturers of it. I know you mentioned and you brought some brochures that Porsche and BMW made their own factory coco mats before.
Absolutely.
I always thought it was one and the same. So tell me a little bit about your coco mats in terms of quality versus others that might be out there that are coined the same, but definitely not the same quality.
Right. And that's, it's a tough thing to do because at the same time as, we're always about supporting our product, but it's important to educate people that there is a difference between the two. As you can see, this is one of our signature black and red, very popular color, signature heel pad binding rubber backing. What I have underneath here is actually one of the other coco mats. As you can see, the materials they use are subpar. The vinyl is a very thin vinyl. The stitching that they use is very close in. As
I noticed the heel pad is very thin.
Very thin heel pad.
It's like a hard plastic.
It's a hard plastic. Yeah. All they do is a single stitch around here. We have 3 stitches that go on the binding of our mats just to make sure the fibers don't fray, get loose, move, or anything like that. The backing,
also a hard
you can
plastic.
hurt someone with that.
Yeah.
It's a real hard plastic over time that's going to rip and tear. If you have any kind of a square weave, like some of the original Porsches, a German square weave, this is going to get in that square weave and pull it apart.
And then again, weight. I mean, these are pretty feather light compared to these. So I'm not sure that these would stay in place as well as yours.
Absolutely. So in terms of quality, it's definitely you get what you pay for. It's one of those things.
Now I know, much like PCA, customer service is what you guys are also all about.
Absolutely.
When I called down to place my order, I got a live person, and then you had the right questions. You're like, did your car have this certain option for a 996? Let's say, does it have a Bose? Is it a cabriolet? Is it a coupe? Because you have a wide range of patterns that are specific to each vehicle.
Absolutely, yeah. We pride ourselves on not having any kind of a generic fit mat. Really what we're all about is a custom, handmade, US-made product. We're a family business. My brother and myself run the company. My sister comes in, does shipping for us. During the summer, I get my 2 little nieces in there to work on our mats, and it's
made with love.
That's right, exactly. Made with love in the USA, in Fort Mill, South Carolina.
Very cool.
I really, like you said before, I do pride myself on being able to be there for our customers. If you have a question that I can answer, I'm there for you. If not, I'll find the answer for you. Custom designs, another big thing that we're really big on. We have a lot of customers with custom cars, custom transmission tunnels, whatever else. If they're able to provide us a pattern, a paper pattern of what they want, we'll make the mat to their specifications, and there's no additional cost for that.
Very cool. And I think because you do everything so custom, naturally one would expect you could choose an option on what color, pattern, and dots. But in addition to that, because you make these to order, you can choose your stitching, your binding.
Absolutely. I have an example of that over here. This is one of our sisal materials. Now, sisal is a beautiful material, seen a lot in home applications. Sisal comes from the agave plant, same plant that gives us tequila. And basically with this material, and with all of our mats in general, we can change up the binding colors. Normally we'd finish this with a gray binding, like on this mat right here, but we can change it up, do a black binding and a contrasting gray stitching to work in with the rest of the mat. This mat here doesn't have a heel pad, but we could also do a black or gray heel pad there as well. So as far as meeting what the customers are looking for, we're always happy to help within our means to custom make it as much as they want.
Now the original mat here, this is from the coconut fibers, the shell of the coconut. Yep. This is from the agave plant. You have one more.
We do also do wool. This is our premium New Zealand wool that we offer. Beautiful material. I run a set of these in my Mini Cooper during the summer months because I like to wear flip-flops, and it just feels great on your feet when you're driving around.
Who would have thought? So many different options.
Yeah,
for mats.
New Zealand wool. And one of our most popular mats that we're doing now, I actually have a large version of it over here, is our seagrass. And this is genuine ocean seagrass that is woven into the mat-like material. We custom sew it, bind it, everything like our regular mats, and it's just a beautiful, thick, nubby material.
Hold that up so everybody can see. It's got a nice pattern. Now this also has quite a bit of depth like the original mat, so that when dirt and grime falls upon it, it can actually go into the crevices and be hidden until you're ready to vacuum it out or shake it.
Exactly, and that's one of the main advantages of coco mats in general, is that with the weave pattern, it allows dirt to fall through the mat and then down to the bottom of the mat so you don't see it on a daily basis. With your regular velour mat, you can see every little piece of dirt, gravel
I
you
vacuumed
pick
this
up.
like 2 days ago.
And it's just you can't get away from it. On a black velour mat, as nice as it is, it's always going to show that dirt. With the coco mats, the design of it falls through so you don't see it on a regular basis. When it comes time to clean them, pick them out, shake them out, put them back in, you're back in action.
So you just shake them out, or you could vacuum them?
You can vacuum them. I definitely wouldn't suggest any kind of like pressure washing or anything like that. It really just isn't necessary.
Okay.
You can use a damp, wet cloth to clean any kind of dirt or fiber off there. And other than that, they're self-maintaining.
So tell me about the dye, the colors, the red and the black. And is there a durability, I guess, life?
It really depends on the user. Just like anything that isn't made from steel or metal or carbon fiber, it's really going to depend on how you use the mats and how hard you are on the mats. Even things like if you wear soft heel shoes or hard heel shoes. I've had customers that have had them for a couple years. I've had customers that have had them for 18 years. It just really depends on the user. But a lot of things that we do and have developed in the mats are designed to make the mats last longer, such as the heel pads that we use, being so thick. These are proprietary heel pads. No one else in the world makes these heel pads like we do. This is actually designed after a vintage Ferrari heel pad that a customer of ours was kind enough to let us cut off his factory mat, send it to our factory, have replicated and made for us specifically. We were on pins and needles waiting for that to come back. Yeah. So it did come back. We put it back on his factory Ferrari mat, and away he went, and we made him a set of mats in return. But we use all natural vegetable dyes. The coco material itself is a byproduct of coconuts and helps support a lot of the cottage industry in India where cocoa is grown.
Wow, so environmentally friendly.
Absolutely.
I think you mentioned the seagrass one was I think this is a pattern for what did you say?
I think that's a Prius. Exactly.
A Prius.
Yeah.
So if you have a Prius, there you go. Perfect set of mats.
Exactly.
Perfect set of mats for them. You've garnered some interest from some individuals, some celebrities. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I definitely, I'm absolutely thankful to Jay Leno. Jay Leno had me out to his shop, to the Big Dog Garage, last year, and was kind enough to do a review on the mats, and got to hang out with him, see the garage, which of course was the highlight of the trip. People like that, and primarily we did some work with Johan Bader of the Porsche Classic.
Yeah.
excellent person, really nice guy to work with, and of course a lot of the premier restoration places such as Road Scholars, John Wilhoit of Wilhoit Restorations in California, California Porsche Restoration, CPR. So a lot of the people out there that know who we are, they use our products because if they're restoring a car to the specifications that they are selling for $80, $90, $100,000, they want a mat that is in line with that same quality, and that's what we try to provide.
And what I found even more attractive when I was researching the mats for my Cayenne was, you could get a high quality mat such as this, but the prices, even though those cars are $80,000 on up, these are actually quite affordable.
Yeah, all of our prices stay the same, no matter whether it's a Ford or a Ferrari. We always charge the same amount, flat amount, no matter what we do.
Well, thank you for bringing these by.
Absolutely.
You mentioned Jay Leno's garage had a very cool name. What was the name?
Big Dog Garage.
Big Dog Garage.
That's
well,
right.
Here's our garage, but we don't really have a name for it. So what we thought we would do is we would give away a set of coco mats to a PCA member, and all we're gonna ask you to do is to put your creative hat on and maybe submit a name for PCA's garage. So submit a name. I'll put some how-to information here. Submit a name for PCA's garage. We'll put your name in the hat to win a set for your Porsche.
Absolutely. Any year, any make, any model.
There you go. Thanks again.
Thank you.